guys. Welcome to another episode of the Domestic Boyfriends podcast. My name is Dean, and always with me is my co host, Vincent.
Hello.
And this is the podcast you listen to when everything is done, when you're bored, when you want to listen to two magnificent men talk about magnificent things. Like today, we are talking about Percy Jackson and the Olympians, the latest Disney production shot in maybe New Zealand. And it's a TV show on Disney Plus.
I love maybe New Zealand.
Yeah, I love maybes, not babies. But yeah, so that's our topic for today. We have a lot to go through. So we are going to be doing like we usually do. So if you haven't listened to us before, we usually do a new segment. We're transitioning back into things. Welcome to everybody who is a returning member of the community, and for everybody who is welcome. I can't speak English. For everybody who is coming to us for the first time, welcome. But we usually have a new segment. Today we just wanted to jump into things because there is a lot that we're going to be talking about today when it comes to the show. So we're just going to get into it with a pre-spoiler talk. So we just are going to give a quick synopsis of the show. Vincent, if you want to take it away.
Alrighty, so
Clap.
Percy Jackson. This series is called Percy Jackson and the Olympians. That's for those who have read the books. That's the name of the original book series. In the season 1 of this show, they cover the events of the first book in the series, titled Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. The general plot is that young 12-year-old Percy Jackson, on a school field trip, is assaulted by a random Greek monster from mythos, and that creates a domino effect, resulting in him having to run away for his safety to a place called Camp Half-Blood, finding out that he is a demigod, and eventually finds out that he is a son of the Greek god Poseidon. He is thrust into the middle of a potential war that could lead to World War III between Zeus and Poseidon, because it is believed that someone has stolen Zeus's master bolt, which is the lightning bolt to create all lightning bolts, a weapon of mass destruction, and it is believed that Percy did it. Percy then goes on a quest with his two friends to retrieve the Master Bolt, save his mother from the underworld, and prevent World War III from happening within a week.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's a lot of stuff for a poor 12-year-old boy.
Yeah. So Percy was casted to be played by Walker Scobell. And for those who don't know, he actually played in an earlier project that was released back in 2022 called The Adam Project. He played Adam Reed, and some of you may remember that name of the movie because it starred Ryan Reynolds. I think Ryan Reynolds
It's the Ryan Reynolds movie about young Ryan Reynolds, right?
Yeah, I was going to say he directed it, but he did not. It was Sean Levy. But yeah, it's him and Ryan Reynolds worked together for a while. You can really see a lot of like a young, sassy personality in him, from what he has, from like the projects that we have seen him in, and his character was very fun to watch. And a couple they actually had some pretty amazing cast in this. Not going to go too much into detail about them, at least right now, unless you want to. But we'll leave that for spoilers, just so we can get into more details.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's the premise. Demigods. Honestly, it's if demigods went on a very long road trip, and it was super fun to watch. We are going to give our ratings for it. If you don't know our rating system is based on how many times we would watch or replay whatever it is. So if it's a video game, how many times we'd replay it, or if it is a show or a movie, how many times we would rewatch it. Movies are a little easier said than shows because like shorter length. But how many times would you rewatch it?
I don't know if I would ever stop.
Yeah. I definitely think if I didn't have to worry about pressing the next episode button, then yeah, no. Or like transitioning, yeah, it's a really fun watch.
Are you telling me you didn't watch the credits?
For the first few episodes, yeah, but like it doesn't matter if I'm not if for the first like 5 episodes I wasn't watching it weekly. I just let it stack up, so it really didn't matter about the post credit.
I binged it all in one sitting.
Yeah, so yeah, really fun series. Recommend watching it. I think it has already been greenlit for another season.
I believe that is the case.
Yes, for a second season. It was renewed for a second season in February 2024. So this month it did get renewed because it premiered in December. Yeah, so it ended last month. So yeah, I do recommend getting caught up because if they do continue the book series, how many books are there? Not counting the side books. Well, actually,
There are 5 books in
five
the main
main
series.
five main series books, and isn't there about that amount or a little more for the side books or for the books within the same universe? Because I think
So, within the world that Percy Jackson takes place, um, there's the 5 main books. There are about 2 to 3 side books that just add in some, like, give some, like, smaller stories that are, like, usually like an hour read or something, or, like, just extra info about characters in particular. There is also I don't remember what the name of the series as a whole is called, but it's the series that has the Red Pyramid in it, which is about Egyptian gods, but it takes place in the same series because you hear about very, very early on in the first book. One of the characters is like, "Did I just see a black horse with wings flying near the Empire State Building?"
mhm.
And then they have an actual just full on crossover where they interact with Percy and Annabeth.
Hmm.
Um, and then there is another 5 book series that takes place after Percy Jackson and the Olympians, that deals with the Roman gods,
Mm.
and that is completely within the world. Has Percy and Annabeth and Grover as like main characters in it, as well as other people dealing with the Roman gods, which for those who don't know, are very much akin to uh, the Greek gods. They're sort of just different versions of themselves with different names. The Roman ones are what our planets are named after in the system, uh, and are just more warlike versions of the regular Greek gods. The way they explain that away for like transitioning between all of them is just how the god is feeling in that moment. If they feel more Roman, they'll be the Roman version.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, so if Poseidon felt more Roman, he would just be Neptune.
Yes, exactly.
So would it actually transition their personality?
Completely. You meet in the. I'm not going to give like
Spoilers for the books.
or anything. Yeah, I guess light spoilers for the books. In one of the books for the following series, which is the Heroes of Olympus, you meet Mars, which is Ares. As we met Ares in the show, which is pretty akin to how he is in the books, he is a dick. He's just sort of an ass. The Mars version of him is actually a very respectable character and one of my personal favorite characters from that book series. Um, we don't get that much like time with him per se, but like he interacts with Percy and gives him nothing but respect because he is a he sees Percy as a very strong warrior
Mm-hmm.
and a very noble person. So therefore, he is nothing but respectful to him.
So is it? But technically, they're still related, right? It's still the same being. It's just a personality shift.
Kind of, yeah.
So
In
it's
a way,
like it's like two.
there is it's really interesting. If you've not read the series, Dean, I want you to read the
Oh,
series so
I don't
desperately.
read
But like
books.
there's a Camp Half Blood, but for the Roman gods.
What? That doesn't make sense. I thought that they were the same.
Nope, it's very different. It's also on like the other side of the U.S.
Wait,
I think it's in like California.
but I thought that they were.
And then
I thought
and
you
then,
you
like,
just said they were different. They were the same.
The two camps like find out about each other and like try to go to war.
I thought you just said that these were the same.
Nope.
What? You just told me that. What? You just told me that Neptune is Poseidon and Poseidon is Neptune.
Wild, dude. It's wild. It's crazy.
Is it like a Diavolo
the
thing?
Kids in Percy Jackson at Camp Half Blood like auto translate things to like ancient Greek and stuff like that. That's how it happens for kids, but they're like putting it into like I don't want to say Roman because that's not the right Latin. They automatically translate it into Latin. They can all speak like fluent Latin.
What?
The kids for their bunkers and stuff, it's barracks.
Okay. I
and stuff.
What the fuck is this? Okay.
And they have like strict, like it's just all war all the time. Very strict schedules.
I'm so confused.
As opposed to like the big three existing. Neptune is actually seen as like a really weak and like not powerful god.
But aren't they the same people?
Kind of weaker, and they like his temple is like a shack, like a.
But aren't they the same people? You just told me they were the same people.
But they're kind of not.
What? Does Poseidon just turn into the sad boy? Like he's just like. But I thought they were the same. Okay, whatever. I hope the series gets so to the point because this doesn't make any sense anyway. So we oh my gosh. Okay. Let's get into spoiler talk.
I didn't think I was gonna break your brain this early on. Wait.
I mean, I knew about like the other gods because I know about like I know what happened in Alaska. That's all like that's like the most groundbreaking thing I know. But that's
what?
What?
You know about Alaska?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, but I don't know about freaking the Romans apparently. So, we'll get
Alaska's huge.
Yeah, spoiler warning. We're gonna get into let's start talking about the show again. Spoiler warning for the rest of the show that we're gonna be talking about. Yeah, you've been warned. 3, 2, 1. I loved the show. I mean, you don't have to be spoiled for that, but I thought it was super good.
And give it 5 lightning bolts out of 5 lightning bolts.
I really liked some of the things. It's very unfortunate that Zeus's actor passed away.
Oh yeah, the fact that it was Lance Reddick was incredible. Yeah. What a great casting choice.
Yes. But which I don't think that was the last thing. Oh my gosh, the last thing he was in was Kite Man. Hell yeah, the DC original show.
That's amazing.
He was Lex Luthor.
Really?
Yeah, he was the voice of Lex Luthor.
Sick.
Yeah, he's also in Invincible.
He's also the voice of what's his name?
I mean, we could go all day
One
with
of my
this.
favorite game series, Horizon Zero Dawn. He is the voice of um
Silence.
yeah, Silence. He's the voice of Silence.
Yeah.
They also like based his model off of him because that's what they did for like that's what a lot of game companies have been starting to do lately, where they just
Is
sort of like
basing the
base
models
the
off the
face
VA.
model and the off of the actual people, which I think is really smart. That's
Yeah.
how I stand by the opinion, and other people agree that like Horizon Zero Dawn, well, Horizon Forbidden West has like some of the best facial tracking in like gaming as a whole.
Oh yeah, super good. Still need to finish those games. Anyway, um, yeah. I guess let me just say what I really liked about the show real quick before we get into our points. Um, I love the way that Percy's portrayed. I think oh man, I don't want to get too much into the thing, but I really like how he is. Before we get into the topic of the differences between the movies, I really like how he feels like a kid in this.
Mhm.
Like I feel like when I think of Percy Jackson before, I just think of the teenager that we got, not the kid. And like it's cool to see. I feel like it's cooler to see in like my head. I imagine reading these books, like it'd be more badass to see some of these scenes because like seeing some of them just being played out by kid, like they're not kids. Like I'm like fairly sure Walker Scobold is. Oh no, he's 15. Never mind, he's a kid.
Yeah,
Nope, they're all kids. Never mind.
yeah, these are all kid actors,
But having
which is good casting.
but having tweens fight each other like this, I feel like isn't like. I feel like I don't know. There's not enough blood and gore, but no, like it's. I feel like there's some. I have to. Instead of like when you're watching something and you have to suspend disbelief.
Yeah,
I feel like I have to like imagine more when I'm watching some of the scenes. Like I feel like some of the stuff could have been more dramatic, like the in Capture the Flag. I feel like a lot of that could have been more dramatic in my head if I like read the book. Not saying that they did a bad job or anything like that, but I feel like there's just like I don't know, just like a little bit. There was something missing.
yeah.
Can I also give an opinion? I don't know if you share this or not. I don't think Leah Jeffries is a bad actress, right? I don't know a lot that she's in. She was in Beast. Oh shit. I don't know a lot that she was in, right? I haven't seen like a lot of her stuff.
Mhm.
But I'm not gonna but I don't like I feel like I don't know if it's the script or something like that, but the way she said some things just didn't feel right. It felt very robotic. Did you get that? Did you feel that?
Um,
Like I feel like some of the lines were just a little not emotionless because I imagine that like some of it might be part of Annabeth's character, but I feel like there wasn't enough anything put behind some of the lines or it didn't feel believable.
yeah, no, I get what you mean, and I definitely like hear what you're saying.
Cuz I get that we're supposed to like this is the beginning of a long relationship between them, right? So like
Yeah, and
to
like we're gonna dive like deeper into like Annabeth as a character, um, like as the series continues.
yeah. So I mean like
Um,
it's I don't necessarily think it's a fault on Annabeth's character. I just feel like some things just weren't portrayed effectively. I don't want to say she's
yeah,
done a
and
bad job acting because like you never know if it's the script or like if it's the actor conveying the emotion.
or the director's notes on it in
Exactly.
particular.
Right.
I feel like it was a pretty faithful adaptation of like what Annabeth is in the books. She is a little bit more like emotional when it comes to it in the books, but
Mhm.
it's still pretty one to one with how it is.
I mean, I have an Alexandria Daddario bias but at the same time, like I love the casting for Annabeth,
Yeah.
right? But I don't know. I just feel like some of the scenes, I just felt like she was like during that scene, she just didn't convey a lot of anything.
Mhm.
And like I don't know, I'm not, I don't want to dwell on it too much, but like I feel like she was super robotic, and it could be in the director's notes to like maybe have Annabeth as she progresses convey more emotion. But that was like the sore
Yeah,
thumb because everybody else felt like they were super in tune with the character, and like yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say it's on the actress because she's too young for me to critique her super hard like a veteran. So
for sure.
but yeah, no, I love the choreography. I thought everything looked amazing. All of the water scenes with Percy looked really cool. I
Oh my
wa-
god, the water CGI looked fantastic.
I watched the underwater scene when he went into like the ocean to like see his father at like
Yeah.
at night in the dark. And this like beam of light shot through my my patio, and like I just couldn't see everything anymore. The light ratio just like threw it off, and like I couldn't see anything. I was just like
That's funny.
because it's all dark and gloomy. So I was just like I can't see anything. Yeah, I really liked everything. I'm really excited for more, honestly. Like especially since you just told me about the Romans, and I really want this question answered for myself. Yeah, it's super amazing. I can't wait for more. It just looks super good, and everybody that's on it seems amazing. Lin Manuel Miranda as Hermes is also my favorite thing in the world. So
Oh, I started popping off when I saw him.
yeah. But let's get into some of the topics that we have. So is there any character you want to talk about in particular, or like a certain actor in a role that you want to talk about?
Um, well,
Or who was your favorite character in the show that we saw so far?
I think well, my it I have a couple, and for
Hmm.
like for multitudes of reasons. Like two of my favorite characters were Gabe and Mr. D because of just how funny they were.
Yeah.
They were like so much funnier than they were in the books. Like Mr. D already was kind of funny in the books.
Hmm.
I love that they kept that he was drinking Diet Coke. Uh, I was watching it with some friends, and like one of them saw the can of Coke, was like, "Ah, dude, the product placement." I'm like, "What do you mean? This is canon."
Yeah.
Um, um, but like uh, both of them, like Gabe was an awful person in the books, but like even more like horrible than how they portrayed him. Like in the show, he's just kind of like a doofus that's just sort of not good.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
um, uh, I love what they did with Medusa.
Hmm.
Um, showing her like telling the story more from like her good side. Percy like immediately like knowing who she is, and be like, oh, this is fine, because like um and we'll for sure like talk about like the movie, uh um but like the movie had a more like book accurate portrayal of what ends up happening, because they walk in and they're like, M's garden, why does that make sense? And it's the same exact scene that like Grover did in the movie, where he's just like walking around and he finds the statue. He's like, this looks like my my Uncle Ferdinand. It
Hmm.
is my Uncle Ferdinand.
Yeah.
um, but the use of her and like making her seem like a more caring person, and like giving her honestly like more screen time as just Medusa and being who she is,
Hmm.
uh, I felt really helped make her a lot more of an endearing character.
Yeah.
Um, But I think overall, like, if I had to pick one character as my favorite, it's probably Ares.
Mm-hmm. Is it because he ate all those
Like,
cheeseburgers?
yeah, no, it was awesome. I was one of the things that like told me like this series was going to be good and like accurate to the books was the fact that every single episode was named after a chapter from the books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I caught wind of that, and like other people were like talking about it, and I was just like, this seems. I feel like this is the chapter, and then after episode 3, I was just like, okay, like I looked it up. So
Yeah, and like the minute that I saw that the chapter was called God buys us some cheeseburgers, I was like, oh, let's go, let's see who it is, let's see how he portrays them.
yeah,
And Adam Copeland did such a good job with him. Uh, the the scene between him and like Grover spending time with each other and like Grover talking about like how he's actually just a big fan and stuff, that wasn't in the books at all. But that's easily one of like my favorite shows from the entire like is the favorite scenes from the show in its entirety. It's just like Grover's like nobody talks about the hits anymore, the classics, and like what's going on.
The wars.
Like those were wars where barely anyone died. He's like, yeah, I like your softer stuff.
Yeah, no. Grover's going a little too much. He's on Reddit 50 too much. I really liked. We didn't see too much about her, but I really enjoyed Percy's mom. I really just liked.
Oh, Sally.
Yeah, I don't know. I just really liked. I think my favorite, like, she. At first, I was just like, she died of mom disease, and then I was just like, oh yeah, she's. I was just like, oh yeah, she's in the underworld. I forgot. And then when she didn't show up, when they showed the dream at the end, and then he woke up, and then she was in front of him. At first, when the dream was happening, I was just like, oh, she did die of mom disease. And then when he woke up and then she was there, I was just like, oh, she didn't. I was just like, oh my gosh. I got like baited.
His mom actually makes it through. She recovers from mom disease.
Yeah. I was just like, oh man.
After going to the underworld, which is like a very rare occurrence.
Yeah. Usually they stay with Satan.
It's funny that like you say that like we didn't see that much of her because like in the grand scheme of things we didn't.
She was, but she
saw
was. It was
barely any of her in the books.
In every episode, we got like a flashback. It was like bits and pieces, but like they tried to spread it out as much as possible to give us like a little bit more backstory. I don't know how much of that's just book or like is true to the books.
Well, basically, all of those flashbacks are show exclusive.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just really fun to see because like. You get this, there's a, like, besides the fact that that's his mom, right? You get this, like, deeper connection of who she is so you can get to know her. Not just the fact that it's the MC's mom, which is like, Full Metal Alchemist took the entire series for you to even understand why they would commit themselves to doing something like that. It's... You understand it, like you can understand it on a fundamental level of like it's your mom or like it's your care, it's someone who raised you, right? It's someone who means a lot to you, so you can try to relate that back to your life. But actually seeing the character and how the character is throughout the series and knowing that this like his main goal in this entire his entire journey isn't necessarily like it's everything else just comes at a convenience to the greater world. You know what I mean? Like,
his goal is to save his mom.
Yeah, we need to stop World War III, and Zeus thinks that you're the one who stole his lightning bolt, so go get this. And it's just like, oh, we think Hades stole it, but your mom's also in the underworld. Like, it's all like a great convenience to be in his sphere of worry, because like if it wasn't, and it was just like, oh, your mom's over in Montana. Percy would have just went to Montana and would have pieced out. You know what I mean? Like, World War III be damned. Like, he's just done because that's all he cares about. So, like, to get a more of an understanding of the person she is, so when she does come back, you feel more attached to her and more thankful that Percy gets to experience this person like longer, I think is a lot
Mhm.
more. I think it gives you a lot more. And even to like build upon the relationship, like we didn't see Poseidon like at all. But when we did see Poseidon and he did like we did get those interactions between her and Percy and like anything we got out of Poseidon, we can reflect on that back to Sally because, you know, it didn't seem like the Greek gods in mythology are known to just like sleep around, right? That is like what in actual mythos that is what is known, right? Like
Yeah.
Zeus turns into animals and bangs everybody, and like everybody just has kids, right? That's like the big. That's what Greek gods are kind of like. That's their like untelling fact. Like, but to like find this relationship between a god and a human where it isn't just the fact that he wanted to sleep with someone and it was just the fact that like he actually found a relationship, it's nice. You know, it gives you something to like emotionally put yourself into and to like look at and enjoy beyond what like superficial stuff it is.
Mhm.
So I really liked it. She's my favorite character because of that. Cause like she's the motivation. She is the princess in the tower that he needs to go save. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Um,
I forget. I don't believe they actually like talk about it or go into depth about it. Did they talk at all in the book, or not in the book, in the show about why she was with Gabe?
uh, who the
They
fuck's
didn't,
who the
right?
fuck is Gabe again?
Which one is Gabe?
Yeah, who's Gabe again? Gabe.
Gabe's Percy's abusive stepdad.
Oh no, they didn't. Do they in the books?
Yes, they do. And I
Okay.
believe they might talk about it in the movie as well.
Yeah, no, I don't think
So
they.
the reason
I
why
guess they
she's with
didn't.
him is
Mm-hmm.
because, and it like kind of talks about they kind of talk about it in the show, like the monsters can smell um demigods
Yeah,
and like
they can.
people of their world.
Yes.
Um, and so
Oh wait, no, he masks them,
so
right?
huh?
He masks them, right?
He masks them because of just how truly putrid and stinky he is as a human.
Mm,
So Sally puts up with him because it's the only real way to be able to protect a
Percy.
son of the god of the big three,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
know. Um,
the porta potty. I'm now calling. He is now the son of the porta potty for me. But
yeah. Um, it's so funny. It's so good.
yeah, no, I think
Um,
they. I think she does bring it up, and it makes a lot of sense. So
and if I
I
remember
forget this
correctly, it's
one.
also like it's one of the reasons why none of them have cell phones or use cell phones. Um, it's because like those electronic signals and like satellite dishes just sort of like work like scent relay dishes and triangulate their their positions amongst
Interesting. They just
things.
amplify everything. Interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. That's why they use the goddess of rainbows to be able to talk to each other.
it all makes sense. Goddess of Rainbows. Iris?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because they did do, yeah. Excuse me. So since we're there, let's do the differences between the movie and the show first, before we get into
Oh
the
yeah.
books. So I'm only familiar with the movies, and even then, like it's been years since I've seen them. But the big thing that stuck out to me, and the thing that I disliked about the movie, about the show the most, that I really was looking forward to because I remembered this the most, was the Lotus in Vegas.
The Lotus. You like that just because Lady Gaga's Poker Face was playing.
No. I enjoyed it, yes, but I enjoyed it because I felt like it was, I don't know, it was more fun. When they entered the Lotus in the TV show, I was just like, dude, this just looks like a day camp. Like,
Yeah.
maybe it's because it's a movie and they have a bigger budget, or like maybe it's because like they weren't going to focus on it too much. But the atmosphere of the Lotus in the movie, and even the way that some of the things went, felt a lot better.
It didn't really feel like a casino.
Yeah. So in the movie, I loved it because it felt like Vegas. Like, they didn't go to Vegas in the middle of the. They didn't, like, in the show. They didn't go to Vegas in the middle of the night. It was like midday, right?
Yeah.
When in the movie, they go to Vegas at night. Everything's popping off. They walk into the Lotus. Everything's like bustling, going wild, right? It feels like Vegas in a place, right? Which I loved. The
Yeah.
atmosphere was cool. And then besides that, in comparison, did like those two atmospheres and everything, I like the movie more. The other thing, I was watching someone talk about this scene in particular, and I couldn't agree more that it felt like the way that the movie portrayed stuff when it came to the Lotus and solving how to get out of it and the story aspects of it were done a little bit better in the movie, because everything was told to you in the show. Like,
Yeah, no, they really like a big thing that they did with it in the show is that instead of having the Lotus Hotel be some kind of mystery in itself, they threw that away so that they could focus more on Hermes.
yeah.
Which is not really like what happens in the book at all. And I honestly like what they did because it's important. It'll be important like that we have these kinds of interactions with like all of the gods.
Yeah.
Because the gods are just as important as the demigods in the books.
Mm-hmm. But
And like
I feel like it could have been done better. Like,
I
maybe it's because it's a Disney
the small cowboy.
Yeah. Like,
that was something that happened in the book. It was one of the weirdest things to read, where he's like, "Oh, this is such a good movie." Like, what?
yeah, like I feel like the scene it wasn't as long as like that part of the episode was where they like go through the Lotus. But like
Yeah,
it felt cool. Like Percy learning why everything seemed too good, like everything's
Yeah.
quiet but too quiet, because I think it was was it the voice of Poseidon that was talking to him in the movie?
yeah,
Yeah. So like it wasn't it, but it was his father speaking to him and telling him not to eat the lotuses because it would put you under a spell is way better than him and Annabeth running around and wondering why everything feels weird, and Percy pulling something out of his ass by saying, "Oh, they pump it in the air." Like, I feel like they made that scene specifically for everybody who watched the movie and expected them to start eating lotuses like they were popping Molly.
I loved when I don't remember his name, but the other satyr was like, "These are tortilla chips." I was like,
Yeah.
What? What?
I was just like, wait, is he just stupid and he's not high? Like, what's going on here? Yeah, no, there were like small things that I thought were cool. Like the directors confirmed that like you could hear a child screaming for someone else, and that's like hints to where like future characters also being in the Lotus that we won't see until like later books that were like brought up before.
Yeah.
Like that's cool and everything, but I can't
Wait.
get a
Oh my god.
yeah.
Oh my god.
So you can hear a little.
know.
You can hear a little boy's voice looking for someone, and its implications. They did confirm it. They were like, yeah, they were such and such looking for, like, they were such and such looking for such and such. Like
Bro,
it is,
that's
which is
set up for like book 3 or book 4.
which is like really cool because like if they make it that far, that's just showing that they're looking at the linear timeline as a whole.
Oh
And
yeah.
like the world is that's a nice tidbit of like the world is alive.
Yeah.
That like you
I
can
will
go back.
say, and I won't say what it is about this series or about like, what they did for the show.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the stuff that they have set up here and like things that they chose to be different um from the books is set up for what will end up being the final season of Percy Jackson and the Olympians,
Yeah.
and is like super integral to the story as a whole.
Yeah. I I don't hate it like what they did. I'm only talking about the Lotus still, but like
Yeah, no.
it's just
the Lotus I think was the lowest point in the whole series.
yeah, and the whole like
for
VR
the show.
area, I was just like, eh.
That
and
was
like,
funny.
and honestly, my problems with
Rover in VR is funny.
my problems with Annabeth didn't get better when they went into the Lotus because like people talking explanations to your face about problems, like it's not fun.
No.
And I loved the way that the movie did it. It made you feel like you were learning along with it instead of characters telling you stuff. Also, I mean, it was cool. It was cool to see like, oh yeah, this is like the eternal fucking casino because people come in and they never leave. The dude fucking playing the pinball machine from like the 40s.
That guy was actually like very important to show like how long it had been in America at least.
Yeah, so like it's interesting and it gives you a wider eye on like how some of these, because like they're the Greek gods. They've been around for a long time, right? How they adjust to the world around them and how it grows is super interesting, right? Like the Lotus is a 21st century like invention, right? So like it's been around as long as Vegas has been around, right? It's the gods looking at what humans have done and benefiting off of it, you know? So it's just I just think it was cool. And it's also the only thing in the movie that I think like I can think of as like big differences. But I'm sure you can like cuz for the first, at least for like the first movie and the first book, I don't know if you want to go more into what you thought were significant differences between the two.
I mean, it's been a long time since I watched the movie. Like, and I honestly, like, even as a kid, I really didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be a book purist. I wanted to be like really happy, but like one of the biggest things that like truly like settled it as like this is a bad movie for me as a kid even was the fact that seemingly they killed off Luke,
Mm-hmm.
who needs to be there for at the very least book 2 and movie 2, which they brought him back for. Somehow, they still did not explain how they saved him. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I watched that movie once and I blocked it out of my memory. Movie 2 is even more of a mystery than movie 1.
Mm-hmm.
But like, that like really cool, albeit fight that Percy and Luke have on top of the like outside of the Empire State Building.
Mm-hmm.
The end of that has Percy creating a trident out of water and piercing his throat.
Yeah.
Piercing Luke's throat with it.
Yeah.
He's dead.
Yeah. I mean, whoa.
He's dead. He threw him into a water tower. He did what Naruto tried to do to Sasuke in the original series. And he succeeded. Or I guess what Sasuke tried to do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't know. I feel like some things just were like a lot cooler to watch. And it is a movie. So like they're not totally going for the narrative stuff. They want to like sell the action
true.
and all
and like
that.
there was only so much you can do with like the amount of time that you have for a movie. That's why I think most book adaptations honestly should follow the formatting that what Percy Jackson has done. I believe Percy Jackson has, for the most part, set a new standard for like how book adaptations should be done over it being like a movie, have it be a TV show so that there's
I
time to grow, there's time to breathe. It doesn't feel like a rush.
feel like this might be controversial, but I feel like median, like for certain stories, especially books, not just should they be shows, I feel like it would be cool if they gave, I feel like they'd have more creative liberty if they were animated. Because then you're not left with like CGI and like expressions that only you could see off of like a human face. So
Yeah, no, that's fair, and
you can be more
that's true.
articulated. But let's get down to the big thing. Tell me, give me every single difference between the movie and the book, or between the book and the show.
I can't do that because that's going to be over 65 things.
Yes,
there are
you
a lot
will.
of changes.
Give me the most major changes.
I can give you like the biggest ones.
Yes. Give me the biggest things that you give me. Big things
Here, and this will be like, I'll get the biggest one for me because I was very interested to see how they were going to do it, because I feel like what they did in the movie was fun, but it still wasn't a true adaptation. The post-credits scene of the final episode has Gabe dying, and it's one of my favorite scenes for Gabe because it's just him freaking out about the divorce, about how he's losing everything, and his soon-to-be ex-wife has now changed the locks, and he starts trying to convince his lawyer to come and help him break in. Very funny. And the gods did a return to sender thing for the head of Medusa that they sent to Olympus.
He's gone.
In the books, Percy encouraged his mother to use it to kill Gabe.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
He convinces his mother to do murder.
That's some real Animorph shit right there.
Yeah, no, it's just sort of like kind of out of line. Like, and as a kid, it didn't like really grip me until like recently, like watching the series and like thinking about how did they do it in the books again? Like, oh, it was just Percy trying to convince his mother to commit
murder,
a federal offense.
Yeah, federal offense. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's pretty. Yeah, now that you bring it up, yeah, that is crazy. That's really funny. Anything else major that like you would think is super relevant for the relevant for the future? Like, kind of might change up some story beats.
Hermes being in the hotel at all, and all of that time that we spent with Hermes is going to be some of the most important stuff that we're going to look at. And like how they choose, and like the same thing with like Hephaestus and like having the direct interaction with him and stuff. Those interactions, very different. Also, the prank that Hephaestus was planning for the water park, also very different. And like that's just like showing like how big of a change it is for the gods themselves, because the gods are very childlike. Despite being, eons and eons old. In basically every single portrayal, they like, they have a full like mental breakdown and temper tantrum at like the toss of a hat. Like as we saw at the end of the series with Zeus literally going to just immediately exterminate Percy for like saying an opinion.
Yeah.
And Poseidon goes and like surrenders and protects the sun. Poseidon surrendering never happened in the books because they never like failed to meet the deadline.
So that's a big change.
That is a big change. The fact that like Percy just was like, I don't care. I'm seeing this through to the end is huge for his character. That is a huge and like major like great change for him as a character very early on. Because Percy was still kind of a punk. Is like the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
In the books.
That's interesting.
I believe it's the same in the books. I don't remember what the description is, but this I just wanted to like call out. Whoever it was first to make Cerberus or three-headed dogs Rottweilers deserves nothing but my undying love. That is one of the cutest interpretations of Cerberus I've ever seen in my life. I saw him running on, and I did not have fear in my heart for those characters. I saw nothing but a big like cuddle puddle that was about to happen, and sure enough, it did. I was very happy. I love Rottweilers; they're very cute. In the books, I like briefly said something about it, but in the books, the water world park, that was a trap that Hephaestus had made for Aphrodite and Ares, and the ride, the Tunnel of Love ride, was booby trapped with Cupid's arrows as well as a live stream to Mount Olympus.
Oh, that's interesting. Huh. Well, who would have thunk it? No, that's really cool.
The like Hephaestus appearing at all and like the dilemma with the chair was completely new. That wasn't like in the books at all. I don't remember exactly what it was in the books for like where his shield was. I feel like there was something somewhat important there, but it was more important to like introduce Hephaestus and get us like have it be understood that not all gods are opposed to like listening to humans or demigods and like hearing them.
I looked it up. It says the shield was found in the seat of the boat next to the silk scarf.
Yeah. We got more time with Echidna, which was great. Echidna was fantastic. Percy keeps sacrificing himself for other people, which isn't really what Percy was doing in the books, but that's okay. It's making Percy a bit more of a noble person. That kind of stuff doesn't like it doesn't really like come up for Percy more until like book 2 that he starts like doing that more and more. But you know, he's also like 12 years old in this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it gives us more to look forward to. They're showing it earlier on.
Yeah.
You know, we get to see more of those aspects of his character. So that'll be cool to see more of. And since they're showing it so early, yeah, I'm just really excited for all of this. I enjoy Greek mythos, and I'm really interested to see what they have, like for the future. Because I could read them, or I could just watch them.
I feel like, and I don't remember exactly if they actually like talk about it in the book or not. Okay. This isn't going to be like, you're probably going to go and read the books, maybe.
No.
But for anyone who wants to read the books, like we've been going on like big spoilers and stuff, but like this like really kind of shows like Luke as a character. His sword, they do not give a good spotlight on like how messed up his sword is by the end of it. And I don't remember if this happens in this book or like a later in like book 2. His sword, which I believe is called Backstabber, if I remember correctly. Something like that. Back Ripper, I don't know. His sword is half half the like I'm blanking on the kind of bronze they say it is in the celestial bronze. I don't know. That might be like a rank in Overwatch. I don't know. Um, but like it's half whatever material is needed to like kill monsters.
Yeah, it is celestial bronze.
Celestial, great. Half celestial bronze and half mortal steel. So that thing can be used to kill any normal human being as well.
Is mortal steel just steel from the real world?
Yes.
Why do they call him mortal
If
steel?
they don't like show it off in the season 1 of this, I don't believe. But like
Backbiter.
if you were to try to stab somebody like a normal person with a celestial bronze sword, it would just like go through them and they wouldn't like feel it at all. It would be like a ghost touch
The
them.
name is Backbiter.
Backbiter. Yeah.
Oh, so it's actually like one side is celestial steel and the other side is mortal iron or mortal whatever.
Yeah, mortal iron.
Mortal steel and the other
Yeah.
one.
Careful looking into that because you're gonna end up spoiling yourself on some
No, I was
stuff.
just looking at the pictures. So,
Yeah.
oh, that's interesting. So it's something that could kill anybody.
It's a weapon that could kill anyone.
Because I know that the group, spoilers for the future, I do know the group does encompass a non-demigod in the future.
Yes.
There is a mortal person that does join the group.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing that's important for them.
Yeah.
Ballsy to them. They get all the props, by the way. Living in the big god's world as a tiny human. But yeah, no, I'm excited for the future of this. What else? Also, I think I don't know if we get to talk about her more or if she gets brought up more, but Thalia is interesting.
Oh my god, they talk about Thalia so much in the show. That makes me so happy. Yeah, don't you worry.
Okay. Because I also know some other things. I do know
Yeah, what do you know?
I do know that that Thalia and Percy do have a third that joins the group. Right?
A third that joins the group.
Out of Thalia, Percy, and there is another that joins the group.
You mean kids of the big three?
Yes.
You could say that there's another kid.
No, I know that there is. At least I think it's him.
You could say that there's a kid. Wink.
Yeah.
Or who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe there's half of one. Maybe there's more than one.
Yeah. Well, I know that there is. I know that the for the big three to say that they can't have, none of them can have kids is a pretty big hypocrisy among all of them. Like when Zeus was yelling at Poseidon, he was just like, "You're forbidden, son." He was just like, "Forbidden, like your daughter."
Forbidden daughter.
Like you're forbidden. Like, isn't your kid older than mine? Like that means that you fucked up before me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I think that's all like super interesting. Also, is the quote from the books actually that their kids were a part of World War II?
Yes.
Okay, I just
the last
remember
time that the gods had some kind of like major disagreement and major issue, it was what caused it was one of the things that ended up causing World War II.
So
Or
that
at least
was like
not necessarily like causing World War II, but causing it to have as many deaths and stuff.
I thought I thought what was stated like in the movies was that the last time the big three had kids that resulted in World War II. Like them being alive like was it's like part of it. Like the major disagreements then led to that. Which is a wild statement to even put in a book, by the way.
Yeah, a little bit.
Um, but I mean, it tries to give you like real world connections. But that's why they can make stuff up in books. So.
It's true. I believe like some of the other like connections that they give are like, some of like the people who like are all stars at the Olympics, like fast runners and stuff, are like the kids of like Hermes. One of the things they didn't really show off, which I adore, in the books, is that when Percy like shows up, or like at one point, like while he's chilling at the camp, um, there's like a comment made, and the kids of and all of the sons of Apollo are like shooting hoops at the basketball court because he's an archer and he's really good at like making shots.
Mm-hmm. Huh.
And they're all like almost surfer dudes, but not exactly because their dad's the god of the sun.
Mm-hmm. Huh. That's interesting. Um, Yeah, no. I like those little tidbits and small facts. But I need them to get through all of this so we can get to the part where I can learn more about the Romans. Because if not, I'm sorry, Vincent, I'm not reading the books. I'll just spoil myself. So I just need to know more about this. Because it sounds like they're Diavolo from part 5 of JoJo's. But then you're making it sound like they're not. And they're...
I can go into more depths with you after we get done with this. Don't worry.
Okay. All right. Well, sorry, guys.
I'm just trying not to like give like major like series spoilers for anyone who cares about it that listens.
All right, guys. I have to spoil myself. So this is where we end the episode.
He cares too much.
Do you have any final thoughts about this, Vincent?
I'm just happy that this finally gets the adaptation that it deserved. This is one of the most important book series to my heart.
It's critically
in particular,
acclaimed.
as a kid who grew up with ADHD, as a kid who grew up like just like different from everyone else. Like it truly like gave me a home to feel normal because I didn't know anyone else growing up who had ADHD. ADHD got me like super bullied and treated horribly through school, gave me some still to this day like mental health issues, just because of like how much like hatred and stuff was thrown at like any kid who had some kind of mental health condition or had to take medication and stuff. And just having this outlet where I could just say, oh, it like at least like, make believe as a kid, oh, it's not because I was born different. It's because I might be a demigod for some reason, which also helped because my dad wasn't necessarily the most present person in my life growing up as a kid. So it was nice to be able to have a home to make pretend.
Mm-hmm. And that's the important thing about mediums like this and books targeted towards kids is, the relatability, the ability to find comfort in them, and not necessarily projecting, but seeing yourself in those shoes so you can maybe find, like you said, a comfort or a home in it. So, yeah, no. That's
a
great.
place to belong.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. I can't wait to see from what else they have in store. I'm ready to learn more about like how this world adapts all of these things. Because like, I mean, whenever I see stuff happen like Medusa's dead, I'm just like, oh, that just means that like it's like that character is permanently gone. You know what I mean? Whenever like we see like an adaptation of something, like a story or like a mythos, like the Greek gods and everything like that, certain things are permanent. You know what I mean? Like them killing Echidna, them killing Medusa, like those are pretty prominent figures in like Greek mythos. So like that's just
true.
Like how
and it's all okay because they'll just reform in about 4 to 5 months.
Yeah, yeah, I guess.
Hey, that you laugh, but that's book canon.
Oh, interesting.
The Minotaur comes back.
Never mind.
The Minotaur comes back and he's scared of Percy.
Interesting. But Yeah, that is that's pretty much gonna be it unless you have anything else to say.
No, that's it for me.
Alrighty. Well, thank you guys for listening. Thanks to Ultimate Maverick X, as always, for the art. If you wish to get in contact with us, you can hit us up at our Twitter or X. I don't want to say X, but that's the name of it. You can hit us up on our handles. I am at lying_mask.
I am Vincent Barlow 8, 6,
And
one of the two.
8.
You choose. It might lead you to the wrong place.
And you can message both of us at Domestic BF Pod. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and we will talk to you next time.
Stay beautiful, everyone.